Welcome to PLZ Soccer's Spfl fixture preview. We're at week 10 now, guys, but first, before we move on to the games, 3 Scottish teams in European competition this week, Tam. 3 defeats. What do we need to do to be on level with these teams that we're coming up against?
It's going to be better. I think it's simple as that. I mean, I think the standard in the league overall is not great, and I think that's been borne out with the results, not just this week, but Motherwell getting beat off of Sligo as well, Dundee Utd getting hammered. So we've got to do something about it. I think obviously Celtic Rangers are so far ahead of everyone else, but they're off a Champions League level, and then the rest of the teams are not competitive in the Europa League or the Conference League. So, okay, the money's great getting in there, but you're getting pumped every game.
Have you been surprised, Roffy, with the performances?
I've been surprised with the results. I thought they might have been a wee bit more organised. To concede goals like that, it just doesn't look good. It doesn't look good around the world, because when we're here, we pick up the papers and we look at the results, Champions League results, and it's usually wee teams that get beat 7-0 or 8-0 in the Champions League. It's never happened before. So you're right, better quality, need better quality players coming in, but it's disappointing for the whole of Scottish football.
Right, well, Celtic suffered a 2-0 defeat to Leipzig. Are they in a bit of a goal-scoring struggle at the moment?
Well, it seems to be. Obviously they're coming down to the level that they have been winning regularly, but I mean, teams now will see that this is maybe a time when they are struggling a wee bit. The big players, McGregor's no there. Yeah. I don't know how fit Jota is, but certainly the other players aren't chipping in with goals, so other teams will be saying maybe this is the time to get them.
You could use the excuse, Tam, that it's a wee bit like lack of experience in the European games, but against St Johnstone they were struggling to get a win in that game. Yeah,
they were off the boil. I think Celtic, the start of the season they were banging goals in, and they were all in good form, but I think, the forwards particularly went off the boil, and I think this is a great time for Hibs to go to Parkhead. Celtic coming off the back of a European defeat, a few tired legs in there, Callum McGregor injured, which is huge, Jota might be struggling, so I think Hibs will go and have a real go and try and get a result.
Well, Lee Johnson touched on Ryan Porteous earlier this week. Has he been lured out the door, do you think?
Yeah, I think the noise is coming from Hibs now that he's going to be going. I think I seen him saying that he's kind of been chased out of Scottish football by other players and media. I don't believe that. I just think that he's resigned himself that Porteous is going to move on, possibly in January. So, he's a good player. He's done well for Hibs, but I think if somebody pays some money for him in January, I think Hibs will cash in.
That'll be a big loss for Hibs, surely.
Yeah, it will be. It will be a big loss for him, but as I said, if he's not going to sign a contract, you're as well getting something for him in January.
What have you got for that game then?
I've went for Celtic to win. I think I went for 2-1 Celtic. I think Hibs will score. Hibs have created barrel loads of chances, and one of these days are going to take them, and I think they'll take 1 or 2 maybe at Parkhead.
Yeah, I've went Celtic home. They usually win. They usually grind out a win, so I think I've went for 2-0.
Right, Livingston against St Johnstone, both coming off the back of 2 defeats. Struffy, who's your winner there?
Yeah, I think Livy are struggling a wee bit just now. They can't seem to buy a win. I think St Johnstone are a wee bit better than what they were at the beginning of the season. Last week was a good performance, and I think I've stuck my neck out for a St Johnstone win, 2-1.
I was just going to say that. Have you been surprised by Livingston this season? Do you think they'll be challenging a wee bit more?
No, I just think we all say, it's a difficult place to go, and everybody knows how they play. I think teams now know what to expect when they go there, and they cut their cloth accordingly. They play players that are suited to that kind of park. So I think the unexpected stuff that you used to get when you go there isn't there now. I think everybody knows what it's going to be when you get there.
Yeah. Well, Tam, St Johnstone gave Celtic a good goal last weekend. If it wasn't for an own goal, they would have been getting a point out of that game.
Yeah, I was pretty impressed with St Johnstone. They were organised, looked as if they were back to where they were a couple of seasons ago. Celtic obviously getting a last minute winner, but I can't see anything other than a draw in this game. I think it'll be 2 teams, it'll be a battle, a bit of an arm wrestle. I thought Livingston were unlucky to lose last week, let's be honest. They battered Ross County, and I think I've got that down for a score draw, 1 each.
Right, Ross County and Dundee United, 2 wins on the bounce for Dundee United. Is the puzzle coming together?
Possibly. I think 2 great results. Listen, they were toiling. They were favourites to get relegated. They've picked up 2 great wins. Again, I think they're a bit fortunate against Hibs to get the win, but they'll no care. It's 2 wins in a row. Mulgrew and Fletcher out injured, 2 experienced players. Brought younger legs in. It seems to be doing the business for them. So they 2 will find it hard to get back in. Tony Watt scoring a couple of goals as well. So again, I think I've went for a draw in this game at Ross County at home. Difficult place to go, but I think that's another score draw, 1 each.
It's at home, Ruffy. What have you made of Ross County this season so far?
I've been disappointed with them. I thought they were going to pick up where they left off last year, and that they were good. They were, particularly at home, they were really, really hard to beat, and I think they still are. You've still got to grind out. To get 3 points, you've got to really battle away there. I'm agreeing with Tam on this one. I don't think there's much between the two sides, and I've went for one each as well.
All right, St Mirren against Kilmarnock. St Mirren have went for a similar style that worked at Motherwell, and it seems to be working, Tam, doesn't it? Aside from their result against Rangers, but so far so good for St Mirren.
Yeah, it's in good form. Listen, at the start of the season, Stephen Robinson was under pressure. I think they lost the first league game. They get put out of the League Cup early doors, so they've bounced back for that. Disappointing result at Ibrox last week, but I think you write that off. I think you go to Ibrox and Parkhead, anything you get's a bonus. But this is a game they'll be targeting to win.
Yeah.
And I think they will. I think they went for 2-1 to St Mirren. I think at home they've been strong this season, St Mirren. Obviously beating Celtic. Kelly still not so sure about them, although they've picked up a couple of good results. So I think St Mirren can win this.
Well, Kilmarnock, Ruffy, they were 45 seconds away from 3 points against Hearts last week. That's just very, very unlucky, isn't it?
Yeah, I thought they should have went on to win the game. I think Ollie Shaw was through, and all he had to do was just lob the ball over Craig Gordon, and he made an absolute mess of it. And then Hearts obviously went up and got the goal. But so, it's a sore one when you're up 2-0.
Yeah.
To throw that away. So they'll go there thinking they can take something out of that game. And Tam must have been looking at my results, because I've got St Mirren 2-1 as well.
No disrespect to St Mirren, is that the kind of team that Kilmarnock should be expecting something out of the game?
Yeah, that's a fixture list that you look at. The teams that, we always, when the weird teams play against Rangers and Celtic and they beat them 4 or 5-0, whatever, the first thing the managers say is, these are no the games we're going to be judged on.
Yeah.
This is the games you get judged on, and this is the games you've got to pick up points.
Right, well, moving on to Sunday, Motherwell against Rangers. Tam, is there a better time for Motherwell to face Rangers at home?
Don't know.
Not sure?
I'm not sure. I think that Rangers will be hurting for that result during the week. Goldson's a huge blow for them at the back. Leon King, young lad, might get a run in the team now. Motherwell will fancy it, but I don't know. I've got a feeling that Rangers will bounce back strongly this game. Great record at Motherwell. Rangers, I looked at it this morning. They got a fantastic record at Firth Park, and I think that will continue. I went for Rangers 3-1.
2015, I think, was the last victory Motherwell got over Rangers at Firth Park. What do you think, Ruffy?
And I think Rangers will come up with the goods again. Motherwell are a Liverpool, not by any manner of means. I still think Rangers have got the quality players in there. It'll be interesting to see what his team selection is, because he's obviously going to have to shuffle it a wee bit. But I think they've still got too much firepower, and I think I've went Rangers 2-0.
Well, this is an opportunity for Stevie Hamill to pile more pressure on Giovanni Van Bronckhorst, isn't it?
Of course it is. Obviously we're hearing rumours that a lot of the support aren't happy with the way things are going. For me, they've got short memories. They've just come out of a Europa Cup final, which was only, 3 months ago, where the success they had away in the Europa games. So, no, I don't think he's there yet. But, obviously results like getting beat to Motherwell will just make it even harder for him.
Right, well, last game, Aberdeen against Hearts. Tam, Hearts have a European hangover?
Possibly. I think they'll be glad to get out of this tournament. I think Hearts. I think it's been difficult for them to play Thursday, Sunday every week. Their squad's getting stretched. They're picking up injuries. Depends who plays for Hearts. Obviously poor result last night in Fiorentina, but they're a different level from Hearts. Aberdeen, smarting from a down last week where everybody fancied them to go and beat Dundee United. So
were you surprised by that?
I was very surprised. I think most people were, but Aberdeen at home this season have been pretty strong. 15 goals I think they've scored. So I think it's a difficult one to call. So I've went for goals in the game, and I've went for 2 each.
Ruffy, Jim Goodwin said he's taken back his comments. He's embarrassed about what he said about Ryan Porteous. How much of a miss is he going to be on the sideline?
Well, some managers like to be on the touchline. I've never been one to think that you see the game properly on the touchline. You know what I mean? I think you see it better when you're sitting up. You see the areas and the distances if somebody's in the box or out the box. So he might get a better view of the game. It might change his attitude. But there's a lot of managers just love being on the touchline, so they're so near the players. So you'll just have to put up with it until it's over.
Did you ever have managers that were suspended or had to watch the game from the stands?
I would have loved some of my managers to be in the stand because when I used to play right midfield at Easter Road, Bobby Wilson used to absolutely roast me the first half. Second half I always played better because I was really the far side away from him. So I think a lot of players would be like that. Some managers like you screaming ball the whole game. So I think that some of the Aberdeen players would be delighted in the stand.
Did you feel more pressure whenever they were there? It was a wee bit easier.
Aye, I think when you're not there, you can maybe turn a defeat to them. But as I said, I think that Jim Goodwin will be. I agree with Ruffy. He'll see the game better up there, but I don't think there's any substitute for being down there and barking out orders right away when you see something.
Right, well, thanks very much, guys. That's us. We'll be back next week with another round of fixtures, and we'll see you then.